A judge in Fiji has just convicted a Tennessee man of unaliving his wife, all while the couple was on their honeymoon in the country back in 2022. Now, due to the graphic nature of this video, viewer discretion is advised. In which if this video is not for you, I advise you to get off this page.
Look away, child. Look away!
Now, our story begins with 40-year-old Bradley Dawson and his wife, 36-year-old Christie Dawson. Christie Chin was a baker in Colorado before she ended up moving to Tennessee to pursue a degree in pharmacy. And shortly after graduating from college, she ended up becoming a pharmacist over at the Kroger's. And Bradley Dawson worked as an IT professional for a youth village, which is a nonprofit organization that helps children. Bradley and Christie had met back in November of 2021, and 3 months later they got married in a whirlwind romance. Now Christie, she was previously engaged, but the relationship didn't work out. And for Bradley, this was his second marriage because his first marriage took place over in Fiji. He was married to his first wife over in Fiji based on a wedding registry. He got married in September of 2019, but it's still unclear on how and when the separation occurred. The couple had tied a knot on February 18th of 2022 before traveling for their honeymoon that July. Now the couple would check into the luxury Turtle Island Resort, which served as the location for the 1980s Brooke Shields film The Blue Lagoon. Now the resort is a $3,500 a night stay, which only houses 14 guests. Now the way that this couple was able to get a stay at this elite resort was the fact that Christie's parents were regulars there, and they had paid for their entire stay. Now a couple days into their stay at this resort, they would go ahead and turn a party dubbed Family Fun Night, which is pretty much a beach party with all the guests and the staff members. While at this party, the couple would get heavily into the sauce. And it was stated by guests who was at this party that tension started to rise between the two because it was believed that Bradley started acting inappropriate to somebody that was at that party. And due to Bradley's behavior, it started a whole argument there. So the couple would then leave the party, but partygoers would say that you can hear the argument clear down the beach, in which they would continue to argue all the way up to their private bungalow. And even after they got to their bungalow, they would still continue to argue. Now, guests at the resort that stayed right next door to them said that they heard more arguing, then a scream followed by silence, in which they didn't think anything by it, because what argument doesn't end with screaming followed by the silent treatment? So the very next day, the couple's personal butler, and yes, they had a personal butler at this resort. Now the butler would walk in around midday to come in and straighten up the room, in which he would then walk down to the bathroom to clean that up, and upon walking in, he found a gruesome sight. He would find Christie's body squashed and slumped between a small space between the toilet and the wall, in which he had found that she was badly beaten. Now Christie had suffered from multiple traumatic injuries to both her body and shoulders, laceration to her face, and blunt force trauma to the head. The butler, he would go ahead and notify authorities about what he had found, but one thing he had noticed that Bradley was nowhere to be found. Now the behavior that Bradley had exhibited while committing this crime is what is known as situational couples violence. Now what a situational couples violence is when a specific situation where conflict escalates into physical aggression. An example of this is when a person just loses it. Police were able to track down Bradley to a village that was on a neighboring island, in which he had with him his passport and personal belongings. Now upon questioning Bradley, he would go ahead and state that he had took a kayak to a neighboring island just to give his wife some space after they got into an argument the night before. However, police didn't believe that because the fact that he has belongings and his passport with him, they believed that he was trying to flee the country. So then Bradley was arrested and charged with the murder of his wife. Bradley was then arrested and then pled not guilty to the charges. A few days later, Christie's parents would arrive in Fiji to claim her body, after being informed about what happened to her by the State Department. Now, based on the family lawyer, Christie was beaten so badly that they was not able to embalm her body, and so her family had to cremate her in order to bring her back to the United States. Now, due to the crime being committed in Fiji, Bradley had to stay in Fiji for his trial, in which the courts in Fiji are run differently than how they are in the United States. Because in the United States, you have two types of trial. You have a bench trial and a jury trial. Now, a bench trial is when a judge acts both a judge and jury, and a jury trial is where a bunch of strangers decide your fate. Now, in Fiji, they only do bench trials. Now in Fiji, criminal trials are held in the high courts, which are conducted by a judge who are aided by 2 to 5 assessors. Now the assessors function as a jury, but the judge has the final say on what goes on. So let me go ahead and put this in layman terms. If we would have this in the States, even though you can have a jury trial, the jury can say you're not guilty, the judge can overrule them and say you are guilty, because the judge, regardless, has the final say in the verdict. And in this case, the judge had considered all the evidence and has stated that the prosecutor had proved the charge of murder beyond a reasonable doubt. So as of now, Bradley will be serving his time in the Fiji prison. So I'm curious about what everybody else think. Do you feel that if you commit a crime in another country that you should be both tried and do your time in that country? Or do you feel that you should be sent back to your home country to serve your justice there? So go ahead and leave your comments. And if you like more forensic analysis of cases like this, go ahead and stay tuned for more videos to come. And if you're new, go ahead and check out my other videos that you may like. And with that, have a great day.